What's up guys, and today we're doing some product photography. I'll show you guys how to set up your studio and how to edit your photos in Lightroom. Okay, so this is what our studio looks like. We have our tripod here, we have a desk lamp, we have a workshop lamp, and we have our product. We have this black backdrop, and you can tell they're different colors, but in post you'll see how we were able to take that color out and just make it a pure black background. Okay, we've set up our studio. We've taken some photos and now we're gonna bring them to Lightroom and we're gonna edit them. We have imported our photos. We have 8 photos here. So you can see, especially on this gaming controller one, you can see that the colors don't really pop very much. It was kind of dark and obviously nothing came out very much. So we're gonna bring up the exposure. And you start to see the colors come out a little bit more. Because of that, we're gonna increase the vibrance, a little bit of saturation as well. Now the colors are really starting to pop. You can really see that richness to it. Increase the clarity. Now the clarity is going to be the biggest thing for most of these, simply because it increases a lot of contrast and it looks very professional. As far as highlights, we can mess around with those. Bring the highlights up and the shadows back. Whites up. Blacks not back too much. All right, now we're gonna get rid of that background because you can see right here it's a different shade, right? And I'm okay with what we're resting it on because that's symmetrical and it looks kind of cool, but I don't like this shade back here. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna go to the brush tool. Now for the brush tool, we're going to, I've already done this before, the exposure is set very, very low. You can see when I brush, that slightly lighter background has gone black. And it matches before. Now, I'm gonna exit out of the brush and I'm gonna bring our exposure all the way up. Now you can see where I applied the brush because you can see the light areas and you can see where it overlapped on the table already. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna use this now, the exposed areas. We're gonna just trace along this edge here. And this will give us a really sharp edge. We're gonna fill in the table area there. Trace along again. Just the table area. Now increase the brush size. Now we're going for this general area as well. Nice and black, nice and dark. This will help our image pop. So you can see it's dark. It's a lot darker in that area. Now, when we bring the exposure back down on our other photo, you can see how this lower area here is the same blackness as this upper area. It's the same, and that's what we want. We want this to pop. This is what we started with for the compass photo. It's really, really dark, but it's got a good cast of shadows. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna bring up the exposure a little bit, contrast some more, highlights. We want the highlights, we want it bright there. Shadows darker. Now, here's a really cool tool that you can use. Give us just a second. Really pop that color, make it a little bit warmer. Now, head over again to the brush tool. Now for the brush tool, there's different options. We were making it darker in the previous photo. Now we're going to lighten it. And we're going to lighten the inside of this compass. It's really, and I've been holding down on the clicker that whole time, but now we're going to bring the exposure up. You can see how it's revealing a lot that's inside there that the shadow was casting. Now, again, we're gonna make this a little bit warmer. Really get the inside of that compass to pop. And now you can see that's really shining and separates it from the rest of the photo. Now you have the light pouring in from one side, shadows cast. This is a really good photo because there's a lot of elements to it. Okay, so now we're gonna go through and again get rid of that color change, that that black to black color change. So burn and darken it, drop the exposure, and we're just gonna follow it. You can literally see that line go away. Perfect. Now crop this photo a little bit more. Boom. Now this is what we're left with. You can see we have two different color lights, a bluer light here, oranger light here. So I'm gonna bring the exposure up. Oops, not too much. Contrast. Can't mess with that too much. Vibrance. We will mess with the vibrance. And saturation. Really pop that color. Clarity. Give it some good clarity. Now, that's how you edit the laptop. This is actually the edited version. You'll be able to see what happens when I click reset. That's what we started with. The colors don't pop, especially this area here. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna increase the brightness, the vibrance, a little bit more exposure, a little bit more contrast. Bring up the highlights, down the shadows, up the whites, a little bit down on the blacks. Now, saturation, perfect. Now, I'm not gonna clean this up. I just showed you guys how to do that, simply because this is more of a color adjustment. Now, bringing the exposure just a little bit back down. Perfect. Now you have two different shades of blue because we were using two different LED lamps. This is the lighter blue, this is darker blue, and that's a really cool contrast, but similar tones of color. I hope that makes sense as far as how to edit your photos, how to bring out that rich vividness as well as bringing some contrast. Both of those in play will make your photos look like they should be on the front cover of a magazine. I want to see y'all's photos. Make sure you send them to me on Instagram, email them to me, whatever. I got my contact info in the bio below. Make sure to like and subscribe if you enjoyed this video. All right guys, that's it for me. Andrew Morrison, signing out.